everybody, welcome to PeriThrive TV. We are here yet again to discuss perimenopause. PeriThrive TV is about the stories of women who have either been through perimenopause or those who are still in perimenopause like myself. Today we have Laura with us who's in perimenopause. What's the pronunciation? Perimenopause, like me. Welcome, Laura.
Welcome. Well, thank you, Jen, for having me on today. It's great to be here and to be connecting with you over the years. We've been in connection, but good to be over Zoom today.
Yes, it is. And it's good I'm looking forward to hearing your story. I love hearing the stories of women and what they're going through and how they've dealt with it. So tell us a bit about yourself, your age if you choose, children, where you live.
Well, yes, of course, I live here in Canada, and I work with families and children and pastoral care. I am actually 50 years old, so I'm right in the middle of perimenopause. I have a 15-year-old and also a foster grown-up son. So I'm currently doing my master's and in spiritual care and counseling.
Right, all right, that's good. So tell me, did you know about perimenopause before you started going through it?
Yeah, well, I found out about it because, of course, getting into that age, you kind of know that there were certain things that's going to be changing. I was aware of that, but when you really start experiencing it, then of course it really hits home. So of course I spoke to my doctor, to family, to friends. I also did my own personal research. So I decided to go online, and I think it's typically what most women will do when you start experiencing some changes in your body. So that's what I did. And I found out, of course, a bit more that, yeah, I'm entering that phase.
All right. So the first thing you did when you found out was research. Yeah, basically most of us do that. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So how long has your perimenopause journey been so far? How long? Months, years? How long?
Yeah, well, it's about over a year and a half now that I began this, I guess, life-changing experience, enter into that world. And it was kind of noticeably even more just, within the last half year, 1.5 years, it was more noticeable.
All right. So what symptoms have you been experiencing?
Oh my goodness. I have a list. Yeah, so I've had hot flashes, just irregular periods. Well, not but that part, but I've had moodiness, nausea. My goodness, headaches, cramps, heavy menstruation, and the list goes on.
Yeah. So you felt lightheaded or dizzy? I felt that. Did you ever feel lightheaded or dizzy at some point?
Yes, lightheadedness as well. Yep, and that was very apparent. And that's one of the things that I mentioned to my doctor. So it was all part of the package. She said, as I enter that phase, I'm going to be experiencing different things. And boy, am I ever experiencing a lot of the things on the list. As I checked and went through the list, I was like, okay, that's me.
So as your perimenopause has been progressing, do you notice that the symptoms changed or were more intense, or they were the same all through thus far?
They're the same, but it's just that I find that they kind of like have a season. Like they're not all simultaneously happening. Like one time it'll be hot flash and that would pause for a time, and then I'd have the headaches, and then there was a period where I was just nauseated, like for 3-4 weeks. Okay. So they all happen in consecutive times, different times, but they were very much apparent. Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you take anything for any of your symptoms, any herbs or maybe recommendations from your doctor, any foods, any supplements, like for the hot flashes or maybe the lightheadedness? Did you take anything for any of the symptoms that you can remember?
I have not taken anything. I'm just going through the process. Like I've not, gone and get any prescription for it at all. I just continue to just live my life. Of course, when I lived, my aunt, told me what she experienced, and she didn't really take anything. So family members that I've spoken to did not really take anything for it. So I kind of went down that same path that I didn't take anything for it. I'm just going through the process.
All right. Because I interviewed this lady not too long ago and she's going the natural way, kind of like me too. Because for the extreme fatigue that I would feel, I would take the herb moringa. It gives energy.
Right.
And then for my irritability, I was taking I am still taking ground flaxseed. And it helps because for a little while I didn't take the ground flaxseed and then I started to snap at my husband. I'm like, what is this? Where's this snapping coming from? And then I realized that I had not been taking the ground flaxseed. So that helped with my irritability. So that's why I asked, because some people do take some foods or supplements or things like that. All right.
Maybe I should think about it because, yeah, you do get irritable at times and you get sensitive to things.
Yeah. So you live in a country right now. You're from Dominica, and in Dominica, basically it's warm year round, except for towards the end of the year at night when it's cold. But where you live, you have the full-fledged seasons. You have the spring, you have the fall, you have the summer, you have the winter. Do you find that in any of the seasons, your symptoms are worse or better?
I've not observed any changes because of living here in Canada. You'd think because it's cooler, it would help for the flashes. Unfortunately, the flashes happens whenever, so it doesn't necessarily happen in a cold day. Or a hot day. It just happens anytime. So if it is cold and people think the hot flashes when you get that would be perfect because then you're able to be cooled off really quickly. But it has not really helped me per se because I'm indoors. And when you go indoors, the temperature is usually, room temperature. So I've not found it to be any life-changing, experience to have it being here in Canada. It's just the
Okay.
same, I think, for me personally.
Okay. All right. So what has been the most difficult part of perimenopause for you so far?
Oh my goodness. I think earlier on, the early onset of it, I think it was the embarrassment of being in a formal gathering, a function.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, of course, I was experiencing that. So I dressed in a way that I could remove layers if I needed to.
Okay.
And
Okay.
sure enough, there I am at this round table. It's a formal pro function, and I could feel it coming. And of course, there was other ladies, and I'm like, "Yep, guess what's happening?" Anyway, so I just discreetly removed the top that I had and kept it out. And sure, when it's over, it left me feeling so cold. So there I am putting it back on again. I found that was very difficult. I don't mind it when it happens. I'm at home or at work or in the office because I can. But when I'm among people and this is happening, I struggled with that. That was the difficult part. I think I was a little bit embarrassed because then you put it on and then you feel the need you have to take it off again.
Okay. Uh-huh.
That was not fun. I don't like that part about it. But otherwise, I can cope with it at home. I can cope with it, at work or outside, just not at functions.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So your children, did they know that you were going through perimenopause, or you're in it still? Did they know that you're going through it? Do they know, or are they aware?
Well, my family does, but my 15-year-old, one evening we were kind of just wrestling because we often just joke around and wrestle, and in the midst of it, at first, like he was, he's a boy, so he's being harder and being forceful, and I'm like, guess what? I'm gonna get a hot flash. He's like, what? What do you mean hot flash? And I'm like, well, it's something that women go through as they get older, and he's like, okay, I don't want to hear about it. So he is aware. I brought it because I know it was typically when I exert myself too much as well, I found that it would happen. And we were doing, really wrestling. So I know I'm going to get that. So yeah, he's aware of it. He's not really interested to go deeper into it. He's like,
Okay.
you keep that information, he's like.
TMI, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So what would you say has helped you the most so far in this perimenopause journey?
I think it's been just my attitude. I think knowing more about what's happening to my body and experiencing and knowing it's part of the package of as you get older, I want to say younger, but as we get into this stage, what has helped me is just maintaining the right attitude. I don't get too flustered about it. The only thing I'm really not happy about, as I told you, is being in a function. But other
Right.
than that, I'm pretty much coping, I think, reasonably well. And of course, I try to I listen to some of the advice that I got from friends and family to just remain active,
Okay.
and also my diet. So those things have really helped me. I'm really good in doing that right now, and I found that so far so good.
You mentioned diet. They recommended you change some things in the diet. What exactly were you asked to do or not do to help? What exactly did you do? Because
Yeah, so for
that's
my
interesting.
diet, yeah, my diet, I was told to stay away from processed foods,
Okay.
and then caffeine.
Okay.
And these were not issues for me because I was already staying away from caffeine. It was just
Mm-hmm.
the information they were passing along. But I'm like, well, great. I'm not really a processed food person.
Okay.
Um, and also, I don't take caffeine. So coffee and tea. I only drink herbal teas because I can't have caffeine anyways. One of the things that very early, of course, in this early onset of perimenopause is that the caffeine was really affecting me. So my doctor had told me like no caffeine,
Okay.
and that's probably at least a good 4 years ago. That's way back then, and that was
Okay.
just earlier. But then most recently, of course, everything gradually progressed. But so and then of course the fitness. I exercise. I'm in the gym. I go on hikes, massage. Those things has really helped me to come along so far.
What else did the doctor, I'm interested to know what else did the doctor recommend that you do in preparation, for that stage or as you're going through? What else did was it a female doctor or male doctor by?
A female doctor,
Okay,
yeah.
so
So
what did she, uh-huh.
yeah, she mainly always stressed to that I keep fit. She
Okay.
said, and she wanted me to continue doing my physical exercising. There are times when, of course, the lightheadedness, I was concerned about whether I'm doing too much. And she recommended that I continue, that I do not stop, because
Okay.
she knew that it would help me to,
Okay.
to go through this period, in a much better way that she knows, of course. So yeah, her recommendation was mainly for my fitness, because she already
Okay.
knew she knew about my diet, that I
Ah,
was eating the
right.
process, and she also knew that I don't take caffeine. So these were the main things that she, of course, have known that affected many women. So I was already doing that. So hers was just stressing the fitness part, and I really do that a lot. I take my walks and my hikes seriously, and gym, and of course periodically do a massage. So I really take that seriously, and I found it very helpful.
So basically, what I'm hearing from you, self-care is extremely important when you're going through perimenopause because you have to eat well, you need to exercise, the massages you talked about. I'm hearing self-care is very important. So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You're going to come to the point where you will have no more periods. How do you feel about that?
Oh, hallelujah. I am looking forward to that day because, especially now being in it, this menstrual cycle is heavier,
Okay.
and I'm always concerned about, soiling wherever I am, whether I'm sitting,
Yeah.
whether I'm sleeping,
Yeah.
especially if I go on visitations.
Mm-hmm.
You're concerned about where you're sitting at these people home. So I won't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So that will be
Yeah.
great. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, I don't have to spend any more money on feminine napkins. So
Right. Right.
something
I
to
hear
look forward to.
that.
Yes.
So are you still getting your periods every month or are they like a month apart or 2 months apart or is it that they're late sometimes? How have has your cycle changed so far?
So this is the interesting part. So for so many years, of course, I mean, other than having kids, you've not missed it. And August was the first time I've missed it for the month of August.
Okay.
And then of course, yes, I have it in September. But yeah, so it's been the irregularity just started.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, so August has been, yay, first month gone. Not there because I'm taking note of that. Of course, knowing that I'm in that phase, I'm taking note of
Right.
every month when it's happening.
Yes.
The timing sometimes has changed in the month, but other than that, it's really I'm really in the perimenopause for sure. Having
Yeah.
missed August, yes. Mhm.
So tell me, for those of us who are in there like you still, is there any word of wisdom, advice, encouragement that you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, I would like to share with those who are in it, to not not take it as, just something that's really, really bad. It's something that we just have to have a good attitude towards it. Of course, like yourself, you said, know your body, because you are doing something about your irritability. You're taking flax seed, you said. So I think if people know what's going to help them for not being irritable, you do not want to take it out on somebody else, to do something about it. When you maintain that attitude, that's very helpful. Of course, I would advise, young people or people like ourselves to try at least to start thinking of eating properly. Avoid any processed foods. Be careful what you're eating. And definitely, if you're not keeping fit or doing physical activities, to definitely start thinking about doing that, and eventually probably do it, because it's going to be, I've heard that it has been very helpful to those who've been doing the physical fitness.
Okay. All right. Now, to those women who are not yet there, they're maybe in their 20s or their 30s, although some women start in their 30s, but for those who are not yet there, is there anything that, they can do, you think, that you would recommend that would help them to prepare for it, whether spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally? Is there anything that you think they can do to prepare?
Well, definitely listen to your, I definitely give them the link to listen to Berry Thrive on perimenopause, so they can hear the stories of all the women who have gone ahead of them, and not to really fret about it, or not to get anxious about it. Just recognize it's a process, something that we go through, and those ahead of you many have gone through it, and they've survived. They've survived and thrived, I should say.
Right.
And yes, and they should definitely be conscious of their their diet and their physical health, deciding definitely to be active if they're not, and if they are, to continue doing that, which is great. It's gonna help them through that process. If they're taking caffeine, maybe to think of, maybe it might be possible that they might not be able to have caffeine later on, because our bodies all respond differently.
Right.
People go through things differently. It's not the same. I might take caffeine, and it might be okay with me, but it might not be okay for you. And I'm not taking caffeine, but you might be okay. So our bodies respond differently. But just to be aware, if you're experiencing things that are differently, it's just a process that we're going through, and to be mindful of it and have a good attitude. You can still smile. We can still be happy. We can still live good lives. Yes.
Yeah, because that's one of the mission, where the mission of the Peri Thrive blog and Peri Thrive TV is to help women to thrive in perimenopause. Because growing up, and then even now, when I was in my 30s and so on, and I'd hear ladies at church talking about all the symptoms they're going through, and everybody's just like so down about it, so down about their life and their self. And I'm thinking, no, you should be able to, even though you experience certain difficulties, still thrive in those years. It's not like your life is over, so I'm glad to hear you talk about attitude, because most times attitude makes a difference in everything we go through. So if your attitude is, I'm going to go through this and I'm going to just thrive, I'm not going to just be beaten down by this, you will find ways and find means to help you to be uplifted in that season. And watching, like you said, Peri Thrive TV is a good idea, because then you can be able to say, well, oh, so she's going through that too, and you feel encouraged. Exactly. Or you can say, oh, she's going through all of that, I don't have all of that, so it's not so bad then. So you feel better able to handle what you're going through, so listening to the stories of other women who have been there or who are in it can help to encourage you and uplift your spirit. So that's very good advice. A plug for Peri Thrive TV.
yes, absolutely.
And the more I do this, it was the Lord who led me to start this blog, and then he told me to add the video element of interviews. And the more I do it, I'm beginning to realize that a lot of women have been encouraged by this, that it's really helping. So, I'm thankful to him for leading me that way, because really and truly, it's not a subject talked about too much in our society, and people hardly talk about it. And some people I meet would be like, they don't know what that is. What is that? And my sister said, you're not too young for that, but putting the information out there, people can be forearmed. They said to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So if you know in advance before you go through that, you might expect that you don't feel like you're going crazy. Like, what is wrong with my body? What is wrong with my mind? You would have already read or heard some woman's story, and you'll be like, okay, so this is what I'm in now. So you are, and then you will remember that Sister Jennifer tried this, or this lady tried that, and you say, okay, maybe I should try this, and it will help you. You have advanced knowledge. So it's twofold to encourage those of us in it and to give free information to those who have not yet been in it. Laura, it's just wonderful listening to your story. I mean, I'm like, oh wow, okay, so the fitness, I really need to get on that because I've been doing it off and on, you know. But I think you there's something in that. The fact that you repeated it so much and how you're feeling yourself, you know, I think there's something in that. So thank you so much for sharing that bit of advice, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It was good hearing it, and I pray that you would have a great day today, a wonderful day. Just thank you so much.
Well, I'm happy that I was able to share it, and of course the invitation by you. And I was very captivated when I saw your information on LinkedIn. And I think when you're in it, everything about this, when you hear or see, you know, you're just so interested.
Yes.
And the moment I saw it, it just captivated got my attention. And I listened to the entire interview that you did with a lady, and I thought, well, that's pretty much what I'm experiencing. It's great. That's why I just mentioned it to you. So I think women going into this are encouraged, as you said, when they hear the stories of others, and of course, I think it will help us to maintain the best attitude and just be happy even in the midst of all of this. It's not bad after all, you know.
It's not the end of the world. Life is not over.
Not the end of the world, you know. We will overcome, and we will you know, live happy and fruitful lives and God fulfilled lives. That's what it is.
Amen. That's right. So thank you again, and you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.